Okay, thank you for attending today's webinar. We are going to talk about 5Z generation, fifth generation new radio standard essential patents. And we are going to talk about the development and licensing, especially for the engineering and strategy aspect. So this webinar will be recorded and shared. First, I will start with the full slide mode. Oh, where is here? Chapter. Okay, so maybe probably should. Okay, got it. Okay, so I cannot control this bar to see the slide mode. So I hope that you can see my screen. Okay, so first I'm going to talk about the current status and then about the several topics. And then I'm going to show some demo about my current effort to automating some of the analysis and developing SEPs. And then I'm going to have some discussion session today. Okay, so first I'm going to talk about what the current status of the standardization. So because I know that all of the participants are expert in this space, so I'm going to skim over very, very essential part only, and then we are going to have more time to discuss. So as you know that we are in the release 18, so starting from release 15, it's about I think that the starting date about the year 2014-15 that I know about the early stages of the 5G standardization after the full Z, and then it keep going on, and then now is a release 18. So we are fully developed in the title of the 5Z, and recent release 18 is starting. We talk about like a 5Z advanced. So the first one actually the starting we are going to have a more traffic, so enhanced like mobile broadband type application was targeting. And for that, actually we have a new spectrum engineering. It's very especially for the millimeter range engineering. And then for to have that one, actually, we have a different type of the kind of technology, especially the beamforming like MIMO technology and other kind of physical layer and other main layer, other upper layers protocols are developed to have the capacity. And after that, we have a more advanced one. For example, that there was a kind of like industrial IoT application, and also very important like car-to-car and car-to-infrastructure application VTX using side length and then also positioning. And then recently that the release 17 is actually now started to deploy by telecom operators. So as you know that even if the standard is established, actually the real adoption actually it should be implemented in real life in telecom operator is will lag behind like for example 1 or 2 years. And then recently that, for example, AT&T announced that they have a reduced capability, the cap type application is enabled. And also we have like a set, like a utilizing non-terrestrial network like a satellite kind of thing that we have it. And then finally, we are in under developing release 18, the core the 5Z advanced. And then you know that the AI ML assist like a radio access network, and then we have a different type of application is waiting, like for example, like augmented reality type, like the virtual reality we call extended reality, and also like we have advanced side link. And then we are waiting to like 60 now. So we are in a like a completely pivotal moment that we have a full set of 5G standard established, and then it is coming more years that will be actually implemented. And then we are expecting more application in vertical layers we are going to see here. So the in the product wise, there's still the killer application is smartphone. So you know that the most of the smartphone is operating 5G in a like in combination with the 4G. Still the legacy of the 4G operating. So but it'll be more like they call like a standalone kind like a 5G only network is going to be grow. And then and the more smartphone will be operating that way. And then there is adoption of the millimeter wave for the different type of application in the smartphone area. And in a vertical area that we have automotive is a good thing that the connected car has been there for 4G LTE, but now it's more like increasing in not only in the like for example just car to like infrastructure communication, but also kind of like a car to infrastructure, like a so-called VTX kind of communication is starting. And enterprise-wide, that we have a momentum of the private 5G network is started. For example, that I have a friend in Japan, and then he contacted me starting from last year that he has a new market is coming on, and that's a private 5G. So it's not probably 5G, but it utilizing all the advantages of 5G like capabilities. So this market also is increasing that there are more devices to focus on this kind of like enterprise-wide application or industry-wide application utilizing private 5G is going to be. And also we are expecting the like a non-terrestrial and other kind of like, for example, healthcare is starting to adopt kind of like utilizing the like a wearable device enable 5G and also like surgical devices. In other industrial area, we can think about that other the like for example manufacturing and like we call industrial 4.0 and other industrial area is starting to like a more like employing this 5G network. So this is a funny thing that because I also like have been this industry from 2Z that I was in South Korea 30 years ago. Actually, that I was a government officer in South Korea at the time that they're deploying new 2Z network they call Qualcomm CDMA is of the like a first country ever in worldwide that like deploying 2G practically in using Qualcomm CDMA technology. And then after that, I was in like, for example, as a government officer, have a lot of researches about supporting government adoption of the new wireless communication, including they call IMT 2000, that's like a 3Z. And then after that, there was a Fuzi that starting that also like I also like starting my IP business because before that I was more like in the industry, I was more in like participate in the standardization, also like innovation, technology, product development side. And after that, actually after Fuzi, I'm more involved in IP side because I became the patent attorney and so I switched my interest in field from the pure innovation and standard activities to like IP area they call standard essential patent. And then after that, actually, there was some time. There was a kind of like a big like dream about like all kind of different kind of like application is to be deployed in 5G and huge expectation. But contrary to that, actually, I could not see any dramatic like adoption of 5G for a while. So that's why actually the for a while I was away from 5G area and I'm more focused on different type of emerging technology, particularly that I'm going to talk about AI was my main field for over 10 years. But now I think about the 5G and 6G is switching field and then a lot of the new application is show up and then there was a lot of the like adoption and then there was more expectation in the 6G. So I think that that's the I think that the good time to talk about this one. So I like planning this one month ago, and then I started to like developing what kind of topics that can be capture the people's attention. And then maybe the good time to have a share with my insight with the peers in this space to think about what should we do and what to be expected. Okay, so for the SPYs, as I told you that before there was actually a lot of the like for example the Qualcomm was one of the pioneer, but the from the 4Z actually there are more like there are a lot of the actual the company like not just Qualcomm and Nokia and Ericsson is old member and also other companies participate more and more. So I think that the 5Z is including designate like companies, countries, is 100 the participants now, and that they developing this standard. And then as the standard is with like IP to like protect their innovation, and then they developing IP in or just into this kind of like a standard activities. And then, as you know, that there is a ETSR H actually to have a side about the declaration because of the this is a standard. This comply to adopt any product to follow this standard. So they should be like a following friend licensing scheme. So they should be declared that they are very disclose what they have in the standard related pattern, the SEP, and then there was a declaration side. And then I also have like my starting as IP is starting to analyze full ZLT declared in each edge space in very early stage. So to me, actually, I have a intensive experience to analyze fuzzy LDA pattern, get the data from Etisite. That was like a year 2009 that I started my own business, consulting business in as a pattern as my main business. Before that was innovation space. So I moved into the IP space. And then I my first like market actually was a fuzzy LT SAPs. So at the time that I spent 1 year was uh, to reflect that actually the at the time I was in transition between the when I was in South Korea and moving to Boston area, and then I starting my own way to like survive in the United States. And then I successfully stay here, and now I'm a U.S. citizen. But at the time, actually, I just started to do what should I do, and then based on my experience in standard at the time, there was like a deployment. For example, Verizon was the first full ZLT kind of deployment at the time, and then South Korea, like SK Telecom, another company like in the European country. There is a kind of like a new deployment of full Z. So I was very like interesting in like that. I was one of the few actually at the time to try to actual kind of like mapping. So I look at the individual claim of the like declare the patterns that I select about 1,000 candidate, and I look at every detail manually at the time. And then I compare with all the spec. Actually, at the time, was the spec was release 8, so very early stage of the LTE standard specifications. But I look at the whole the scope, especially I focus on physical layer and other upper protocol layer. They call radio access network. So I look at that one and compare them, and then I just manually matching every claim element with the standard specification and select like at the time I just accumulate about the 150, about the 200 or around actually that I have a list, and then I just disclose my finding in through the some network, and fortunately I get attention. And then at the time was a very fresh kind of like analysis because nobody done before, because I spent 1 year to look at detail about the crane level mapping. So I just figure out the new fact like very few actually that declare in the edge space is truly essential based on my crane mapping. And then, so I really interesting in and who actually the has a standard essence pattern like so I made a list and then who owns how many kind of like truly standardized patterns and then a little bit get the attention from the community and then it was features in Forbes magazine and there was a lot of debate about it because I found a new like uh some innovator actually the contributing SEPs contrary to the traditional like incumbent like Qualcomm, Nokia, Ericsson. And then I found the Samsung and LG Electronics and other like a Chinese company, GT, Huawei. There was in my list, and a lot of people actually complained to me that what these companies worth because, but actually it was disclosed in Forbes magazine, and then got a lot of attention. That was history of my involvement in the LT kind of like SCP, and then now I'm in the like a new area. So I'm going to show you that my kind of like a new activities utilizing they call agentic AI, new type of AI. So I will show you later about that. And then for the new kind of like a thing happen is to like we are in the early stage of 5Z advanced, right? So SCP is keep developing. So I was just thinking about at the time I was did like for example I work with a lot of the like entities that are interested in developing their existing patent or like in the provisional state or the based on the not yet fully developed in the specifications. I had that kind of opportunity I call pattern engineering for developing SCP. And then I came to the like a new space in 5Z, and then I found a new way to do utilizing AI. So I will show you in the demo. Okay, so and then the new dynamics. Actually, that I attended the law school at the time also like I was very interested in this space. So not only as like a business, I was very interested in the legal matters. So I attended law school, and then my thesis topic in my law school was about the friend licensing royalties. I think there was a lot of debate in the court like litigation about the like truly what the really friend terms and what is the reasonable royalty for the licensing kind of thing. And then 10 years later, I look at this space, is there are a lot of the new dynamics coming on. And there was a mostly that the most debate about what's the reasonable royalty base. And then now I found that the court is a kind of like a court decision that they are more prefer in the end device licensing. So kind of like, for example, that at the time was an issue about exhaustion. So you know that once you have like element level, for example, in the chip level, have a licensing, and then you have a exhaust in the once you have including that like a license like a chip into your product. And then whether you need to license or not, like there was a huge debate, and now it's a little bit settled down that actually they're a little bit more prefer in the end device licensing. So that kind of like, for example, the exhaustion theory cannot be applied. And then also, kind of like there was a 3G or 4G kind of like a full, but there are the one thing that particularly different from is like a vertical industry, like IoT, and then automotive area also like in the particular area fools show up, but still the bilateral kind of like SCP licensing is still dominant, but it will be changes. And then also like there was a debate about the global like litigation about the friend. And then there was a trend that actually the global licensing royalty declared in the local kind of like the court. So there was a shoes kind of like a still debate about whether kind of like so there was a forum selection matters and something like that we need to think about it. Okay, so that's what I already explained that this is a really pivotal moment. So that's why actually the because of the standard maturity evolution and then the new features functions is actually can implement and more adoption in the vertical industry. And then licensing litigation realignment is that I already mentioned it. And then in competitive SB positioning that there are a lot of the like the SB holders and the vertical layers. There should be shoes kind of like competition in the licensing space. So that's one actually the strategy implication is to kind of like how to actually develop the high quality SP. For example, that I also involved in the local law firm about defending kind of like a matter that there was a shoes kind of like activities in invalidate SEPs, especially in the USP tab. So I analyzed a lot of the cases about like embedded analysis, and then looking at the prior art, and then I found that there are huge debate about like the quality of SAPs, even if they are truly essential in the claim mapping. That I found that there are many kind of like weak point because of their like a prior kind of the invalidity issues that they didn't like fully resolve. So that's one actually I think is a very big issue. And the like licensors reinforce essential and quality. So there will be more sophisticated kind of like licensors and licenses. So the negotiation will be very different. And then there should be high quality, as you mentioned, proof of the truly essential, and then in the proof of the like the against like invalidity is key. And then we need to like for example that we need to some very precision strategy licensing strategies it requires. That's one actually that I motivate to have it, and I want to discuss with the peers in this space about to get attention and then have opportunity to involve myself as a new tool, like I just mentioned, is AI. Okay, so I'm going to show demo, but I checked today about the rerun my demo because that recently the change was actually I developed my demo to easy to show the demo. So actually I developed demo using ChatGPT. So that means that I ordered the demo actually the working very well. And then I tested and then I analyzed all different type of the standard SS pattern and the working better. But recently the ChatGPT actually the open AI changes from their model to 4 to 5, right? So there was a change 5, right? So 5 is a good number for our discussion as well. Like ChatGPT also changing to the 5. So there was I tested today using 5. And then the difference is they have a more different reasoning model. So because of my model is heavily depend on prompt engineering. So I developed prompt to guide like all the AI agent to do some specific function that I will explain you. But like for example that I assign some like a parsing the pattern and look at the claim, and then as a for example as a lawyer that you have like a Markman type claim analysis type to perform by the AI, my AI agent. I train them and I'm guided them using prompt engineering, but because of this changing, so they have so for example like a ChatGPT 5 to use more like a default level reasoning. So I found they spend more time. So I cannot show in actually real time because that was when I planning to show my demo. Actually, I think about 10 minutes will be enough that I experienced before, but I found that it took a lot of time, and then depending on because I'm not using dedicated one, for example, that if I'm going to commercialize this one, so I'm looking for some sponsors or the collaborator to have a pilot in-house or the in a like open space that to utilizing my tool, actually put in the patent number, it'll give you the full scope of the claim chart, very detailed. But to do that, actually, I need a dedicated like large language model and the dedicated tools, everything, but not ready yet. So under my limited resources, I just to put in all like so all the efficiency, effectiveness is not considered. So I not only look at the some accuracy, how much AI can do that, whether can do like a human, but more very short term and more accurate way. So that's what I compare. Then I found that they can do maybe 1,000 better. That's my expectation. So I'm dreaming is that I want to really fully map the space of the whole. For example, there was a vendor that expressed that actually they found like 100,000 that created like a lit 5Z, but I'm not sure how many actually is truly patent. They are very important. Like for example, that there was a lot of the, like economic kind of barrier is related to like how many actually truly essential that who owns how many, right? That's I'm very interested in explore. So I want to explore my AI to do that. So I will show you. So how's demos going that I will explain you because the problem is that it's still working because I was to try to show you, but I think that it's very difficult to do in real time. So I will show you how actually it's doing. So in a very quick time. Okay, so I just as I told you that I using prompt engineering. And then assign all the AI agentic AI to walk through the agentic workflow, and then assign them to some specific function, right? For example, that at the initial stage, that I ask about like interact with the users about their input patterns. So kind of like a pattern number. And then actually the also another the issue was actually the I don't have any like a specific kind of like a database look at the like the all the pattern, right? So I'm just looking at the public space information. So I just utilizing Google search kind of thing. So I provide information to and then my AI agent look at the Google pattern space, and the parse that the all the information. And so here is retrieval parsing, and then it look at all the like metadata and the claim terms, and then look at the like what's the first claim, and then it look at the specification. As I told you that in view of like a specification, it parse every claim element and then try to understand what's the technological aspect of this one and legal aspect of this claim one. And then so it tried to get the sense of the like a claim element. And then it tried to find out what the point, like what kind of like especially I'm targeting like a standard SSL pattern. So they have in mind that they already trained my AI to know about the what kind of like what kind of like a specification, standard specification they are looking at it. But I told you that because this framework can work in any standard framework. So I'm now in the 5Z, it can do 6G, 4Z, and even like Wi-Fi and even other kind of like a video codec or whatever. Because you have a specification, I can train my AI, can reasoning, then look at the space and then compare with all the specification with element. So that's one is beauty of my innovation that can apply any SEPs. But currently, I'm testing on 5Z. And then look at the kind of like what kind of specification space actually they can be matched. So in listening, I assign the look at the I just provide all the information. I just mentioned that this is very slow now because I don't have any like dedicated database. So my planning is that I have a separate site and the cloud. I'm going to store all the specification information in the cloud data storage. So I'm going to have like some kind of like a data engineering to easy to look up it and then pass it. So once done that kind of like elaboration, actually the my AI agent can quickly look at the database and then the find out which section of the specification they can be relevant to each claim element. That's my plan. But you know, because still it is often kind of like they look at the whole the specification in the website. So it took a lot of time to search and look at it now. And then it tried to like look at the whole thing and then it finally defined that what kind of like the more focus on specification. So it look at the 211, 214, so most of physical layer, and then it go to like a next step, like so it tried to do like relevancies, so to like confirm that that specific part of the claim element will be correspond to which specification part of the spec. Right. And then it try to find out the whole clause later. So you know that you have experience in claim chart and then claim element by the like the all the relevance part of specification they map. And then the beauty is that they look at the confidency. So how much your confidence that it'll be matched. And then claim mapping. So it give you the old element and then anchor to the which part of the specification they correspond to each element, right? And then actually that I stop here because it took a lot of time, but I tested this morning that I up to the old cycle. So after that, actually the what I'm doing is actually the human in the loop space. So because you know that still large language model is not perfect. They are biased, they're hallucination. So some of the answer actually not real. That's one I found. So I human expert should check. So I put in the kind of like human expert in. So I call like a human co-pilot project. So my AI agent interact with the human, especially me, that verify everything that reasoning. So what I'm doing is actually that I look at the manually that they provide the section, and then I found that actually if this is good or the like need a more elaboration, and I provide the section and information, and then I ask about verify. And then I reasoning again and look at the detail part and then reasoning that is correct and it give you confidence level. And then at this one actually I found that contrary to like ChatGPT 4, 5 is more accurate. Just, it took a lot of time than compared with it because of more reasoning, but more accurate. The compare with for example, before I tried a bunch of the different type of SEPs. It's Orfino that I share already. I have a 10 Orfino pattern actually. I also the this pattern actually from Interdigital. And also look at the Qualcomm and the Nokia, Samsung, LG, Ericsson, type all different vendors, kind of like companies, SCPs I tested working very well. Okay, then actually it provide like a report. So actually they provide all the detailed information automatically passed to into the Word document, the PDF document. So it's a semi-automatic because still require human verification, so human in the loop, but it's very working very well and then very still efficient and a little bit more efficient as mentioned, a dedicated one, more dedicated like a database dedicated like access to the pattern database dedicated way to like for example not just prompt engineering I can code it into like a Python and then more like efficient way and dedicated one it can be more efficient but still is efficient compared with I've done before in the manually. Okay, and then this one actually the I also tested like for example this one. So in this case, actually, I cannot verify because the key is here is that I motivated I done before in the 4G LTE that still standard in underdeveloped. And then there is a lot of room that actually you can like redraft your claim part. So what I did was actually the key essence part is to that starting from, for example, I just assume that starting from like for example, kind of here is that uh, invention disclosure. So starting point of the usually in house that your starting point is to the starting from kind of like uh, invention disclosure. So invention disclosure usually have like a problem solution statement. And then starting from that, actually, that's a starting point. And then putting into my AI agent, actually, it parsed it. It tried to understand that what's the innovation. And it started to like drafting kind of like claims. And then the targeting claim is targeting specifically 5Z advanced one. But you know that the 5Z advanced specification is not the complete because very early version you will see the only draft is as posted. You can download the draft or not all part, like some part is early this year. So utilizing that information and then you know that in the standard activities there are a lot of like study material like a proposal study material. It pass it get the information from the website and then accumulate it and then look at it and then you know the AI function, one of the function is forecasting, right? Because based on the whole thing, actually the forecast about what the trend will look like. Like for example, specific like study material and then standard activities, and then look at it in the current state of the like specification and try to understand like what will be the future evolution of the standard before actually settle down into the like the formally kind of like decide one. And then it have like a claim side. I can try to match with the forecasted claim. So it's a mapping is a very similar idea that I have done before. But actually, what you done is actually the forecasted claim with the forecasted sender. So it's more futuristic. So it needs to be more tested. But anyways, I found that basically it working, right? So I did everything, and then it give you that finally that reasoning that what you expected in the future, like a 5 advanced like a specification, and then you map with your claim. So actually, that there will be chance of the maybe not or not, but anyway, it's good trier that it give you your initial like invention fit into like SAP candidate, right? Because so this is one thing. So okay, so I will stop here. So So I think that the Dawn show, and then as a truth that my dream because I really want to like complete map space, utilizing my like a commercial level the AI agent can perform that I expect that minimum kind of like intervention in the human activities. It needs tested because but still I have a several mechanisms how to protect hallucination kind of thing and how to utilizing like more local database. But my expectation is that once done in the commercial level, that one pattern kind of like a standard access mapping require maybe, for example, 10 minutes, something like that, or the minute level. And then even there is a 100,000 kind of like declare the pattern actually, we can do, right? It's a map. As you choose, recently there was a trial in the EU that they want to be compulsory evaluation before you declare, right? So I envision that because that's very important because as a fair trading kind of thing that actually there should be transparency that how many actually truly patents. So it protect consumer because you know like this licensing fees is included in the like consumer product price or the price whatever, right? So I think that even like in the public level, this kind of like activities requires. I'm dreaming that some of you have buy my dream and I'm bet that I'm very expertise over my 10 years in my experience in AI and then I experience in the IP and SEP that I can develop. And then I just invite you to join with me that have one. And then in the 60 will be the fantastic. And then that's my intention to have this webinar. And then I will show I already shared some of the like what kind of like discussion we can think about it. But rather than doing, but that's my topic. I want with you that you have any comment or the insight, whatever. I want to discuss with you. We have a 20 minutes more, so I want to have opportunity with you that share your idea about, for example, kind of like a recent trend, like integration with the licensing with litigation is new, and then new deployment of the like application with in integration with SEP is licensing SEPs is another thing. And another thing that I express is that I have a lot of experience to like a shoes acquisition space because unfortunately I have like experience to involve in huge portfolio acquisition like Nortel and Motorola patents that I participated. And then I also work with a lot of the like acquisition in the 4G LTE kind of thing. So with this one, actually, the huge potential of that kind of like activities will be going on. So in the acquisition area will be the new dynamics required. So I want to hear from you that your inside comment, anything. Okay, so is there anyone who wanna share your insight or comment? Anyone just you can talk, right?
This is Robert Olson.
Okay,
Uh,
yep. A robot?
Robert, yeah, or Bob. It looks very interesting what you're doing. What are the near-term next steps for you? And will this be available to others? Thank you.
Oh yeah, so that's what I tried my personal like resources. So I tested all the private ChatGPT, but actually it based on like for example GPT-5 model. So it doesn't matter like what kind of large language model you can use it, but actually I want to launch the OpenAI large language model because they have I think that they are best in reasoning, and I want to test it, but I also like I need some information about like cause for example that I link with like a database kind of like I before I work for some search firm about I would advise some big search firm about so I know about how they do, but actually I need some dedicated pattern information space. Also, like some cloud space actually accumulate all standard relate information. So and then it'll be database and it'll be like a more organized so the AI can look at it and quickly parse it. And then I need some user interface integrate it. So I need some collaborator, right? And also like I need some testing. For example, I wanna like for example test over someone already have some claim chart. I want to test over whether compared to their claim chart done by manually with my AI, whether how much it will be perfect or not, right? So it can be like reduced to hallucination and other like thing. So once done, actually the I'm thinking about the share my thing. As I told you that good thing will be that some of the like dedicated space and then I'm not sure because I don't have any kind of like a financial resources, but actually the anyone can test my kind of like a tool to just put their patent number and then figure out whether they're truly essential or not. But it's still ongoing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I might touch base with you offline. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Alex, my name's David Paranchich. Thank you for your presentation. I had a question about other tools. There are other tools being developed that, commercially that do this kind of claim charting work. I wonder if you've evaluated any of them, like Patlytics, for example, and compared them to what you've been able to achieve with ChatGPT?
I don't know because you know because my interest was not looking at the other guys tool, right? And then you know because I am very I was very cynical about the tool because I have a lot of experience actually advised like that kind of tool developer company before, right? And then I was very doubt about the potential. Right? Recently, for example, I was the only developer actually the utilizing very early stage of the kind of like large language model. And that's a they call bot that's developed by the Google very early stage, like 10 years ago. And then tried utilizing them using like for example, like the language kind of like understanding model to make from the like for example, I just show that the starting from the like invention disclosure to full full claim drafting also like a specification drafting is very easy because you can do you maybe experience but the claim language kind of like a drafting is something you need some legal knowledge and then make it so it was not possible until that time so there was a lot of the companies approach me to test there like for example recently there was company like look at the they can look at the like a litigation potential the detecting that which kind of like product actually can infringe their patent or whatnot. I tested myself because of the I'm very expertise in agentic AI. So I found that recently their working barrier because of this new reasoning tool. Because you know that for example this kind of open AI already have a you have a look at recent feature. They have a AI agent feature. So they're reasoning. So you look at it. I provide a prompt engineering that is some instruction that do something they initially think. Right. So it's like a human-like process with the efficiency and speed. So I didn't test it for all the product, but I'm not by there if they're based on all the technologies because but I recently they may be changed, right? So I didn't test it, but to me that I'm very confident that in the future I'm doing now every aspect of the like IP intelligence will be replaced by the AI agent, right? But still require human expert. So the future IP kind of professional will be different from now, right? Because all the like underlying kind of like manual thing to be supported by AI. So the professionals kind of like expertise and their function will be completely different. For example, I'm supporting some university licensing office that to end because you know because university licensing office is very inefficient because of their nature because of their IP is mostly not targeting commercial product contrary to the industry kind of thing. So there are huge of the innovation, but not directly linked with the commercial potential. So I'm looking at my AI, look at the given patent number, I tested it, and then parse it, and then understand the industry level, market level, product level, and then find out who might be potential licenses. Even my AI can help you to like a negotiation and the drafting contract. Everything can done. It's a legal technology space will be completely different. Especially I focus on IP. So I'm fantastically that in the future I can imagine the future kind of like a more kind of like a different way to actually that we can utilize IP. And I'm very like promising that the way actually that we utilize IP will be completely different. You know, pre agentic AI space to the post agentic AI. That's one expectation. I'm trying to contribute something based on my experience.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Alex. This is Juan. Very good presentation. It seems like you have a lot of knowledge in this field. In terms of other standards, for example, the first thing that comes to mind are the codec standards, the H series, other technology areas that are being standardized, like EV charging, automotive standards. How easily do you think these AI tools, in particular the standard matching analysis tools, uh, would be to those other standards? Does it require a lot of human input that is specific to a specific standard, or do you think these tools would be easily applicable to other technologies as well?
I think that the applying is the same thing, right? Because same framework. Because I've done not only the like cellular. My experience not just the cellular. I working for the early state of the Wi-Fi, so I up to like Wi-Fi ABC up to AC. Now they call like a 7 or 8 now, but I mean the scheme is the same thing. But the difference is the how much actually it'll be very confined, very clearly defined the specification, right? Because I like cellular, because of the 3GPP effort, right? For example, Wi-Fi, very loosely defined, right? Because IEEE, for example, there are a lot of standards developed ISO, very terrible, right? So it depending on the specification, but the offline specification mapping to claim is same thing. The claim part, my AI didn't fully understand pattern. So I just signed that your function is to understand pattern for this direction. I mentioned that whether targeting specification, standard, targeting some market, whatever. My AI agent can understand, so that's no problem. But standard side will be some fine tuning required depending on the specification. But my expectation is that no problem because as I mentioned that. But depending on the nature of the standard, right? So the Wi-Fi is more difficult to a lot of experience, right? And a lot of the like tests required for kind of like for example codec kind of like thing. Yeah, it will be like if not fully defined. And another thing that difficulty is, for example, the edge defined what is truly essential, right? Because they look at the, for example, the fine tuning. They look at the whether it's a mandatory feature, is an optional feature, right? And then it look at the whether you have a, for example, you have an experience, or you have a litigator, right? Because in the court they look at the if is there any kind of alternative way to like implement standard, right? So they judge that whether it's the literally only way actually the implementing that is to follow the standard specification or alternative way exists, right? That's one that's very clear in cellular, but I'm not sure about the codec or the Wi-Fi whether they kind of like a very tight reasoning is possible, but I think that the whole thing possible.
Thank you.
So and then because recently I found that because based on this one, actually, I think about will be the 60 will be very fantastic because because I was surprised because as I told you that I work up to the 5Z early stage, so I try to do the same thing like look at the whole the edge declared in the early stage 5Z. There was a year 2017 or the 18. And then I accumulated 3,000 kind of like early stage and analyze and disclose it. And a lot of people, not many people actually like interested. I have got the attention in the 4Z, and then I found that why? Because of the 5Z is incremental. So contrary to 4Z, if you look at the specification, the 4Z, 5Z very kind of like all 5Z features can be like back to the 4Z new features, but the backward compatible. So you know that there was a like hybrid network. So all the technology incremental, but the 60s will be different, right? So the coming 60 will be very fantastic in like innovation and like IP area. That's why that I just have some planning another webinar. Then I'm to talk about whatever the difference is that the different type of AI show, right? So that's what I'm going to share my recording with invitation. So I hope you attend my next webinar at the end of this month. Actually, that's a more strategic and a more grand scale. And another thing is I want to participate with me, is share my vision, that I want to test it and I have a pilot. And then I want to share with my expertise and experience with all the community in like the SEPs. So please contact me and then I want to collaborate with you whatever that I will share. Okay. Okay, so thank you one. And then end with Dave and lovers and share your insight and comment. So I hope to see you in my next webinar, and I hope to see you there in the personal level contact, and I wanna collaborate with you. Okay, thank you.
Great.
Have a
Thank
nice
you.
day. Take care.
Right.
Bye bye.
Thank you.